All right, folks, we are now live. This one was kind of a sporadic, throw my chance out in the wind to see if I'd be able to get my guest on, who you see now. Some of you might already know who he is, but Damien Starkey, Burn Seasn, Society Red, Sleepkillers, whichever one people might know him from. I think Burn Seasn is probably the most prominent. But I am so thrilled to have you on, man. Like I said, my email followed you for many, many, many years, man. Always loved your voice and your unique way of writing and delivering your vocals. And I'm just thrilled to be able to get you on here and pick your brain about things. I guess some formalities out of the way. You're having a good day so far?
Yeah, man. Dude, having a great day. Just here hanging out in my studio and having an awesome day, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, thank you. Million thank yous, man. Know some pretty awesome guitars back there on your wall. Those are some nice ones.
There's a whole lot of instruments going on in here.
Yeah, I'm sure, man.
My wife says I have a sickness, apparently. I don't know.
I think that's most musicians, right? You guys just collect.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Just collect.
So dude, let's just go ahead and jump right into as I said, the email. I'm mostly going to frame it around Burn Seasn, but I am going to touch on the other projects. But
Sure.
The heft of it, since Burn Seasn has some news, is going to be centered on Burn Seasn.
Sure.
I want to go back for folks that don't know Burn Seasn, that should know Burn Seasn, in my opinion. Just kind of what things looked like in those years of, let's call it the infancy of Burn Seasn.
I mean, obviously we started, you earlier mentioned it to me directly before we got on here, but we started a SmackDown. I mean, we were just kids. We were like 14 years old. We started writing songs and playing. It was me and Bobby Amaru, and we had a few different other guys who kind of rotated in those early years. Then we basically 2 months after we graduated high school, we pretty much got our first deal with Elektra and went through all that stuff. And unfortunately, in my opinion, we were almost kind of a casualty of the industry at that time. Everyone kind of freaked out about all the Napster things that were going on, and all of the labels were firing their A&R guys, and everyone was just freaked out. So it was kind of a weird time for us, but it was also an awesome time for us in retrospect, because we wrote a lot of cool songs during that time. And, we really found, I think, a solidified version of the band and the camaraderie and the everything. So it was actually ended up being cool. But obviously things continued to progress from them. But, the early days of Burn Seasn was SmackDown. And then once we got our deal, we did have the name SmackDown prior to the wrestling show being out, but then the wrestling show came out, and we even tried like changing the spelling and doing things or whatever. And then once we got a deal, they were like, "You're not going to be called SmackDown." So then we became Burn Seasn.
SmackDown or Burn Seasn, which do you feel like is the better name?
Burn Seasn, for sure.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you.
We came up with SmackDown when we were, like I said, we were 14. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to name anything that's going to follow you for the rest of your life when you're 14.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun name. If you guys did go with that, if Elektra didn't go, that's probably not going to work, guys.
It was way cooler before. I mean, regardless of whatever anybody thinks about wrestling, that's fine. But it was like, that's what made it feel corny. Like, nobody thought it was corny until the wrestling show came out and became like a huge freaking thing. So then it was like, that's not going to work. So whatever. Yeah. It's all good. I prefer Burn Seasn anyway. So
same. I've always loved what I thought the name stood for, which is, just taking things from like a past or a present. Maybe I'm wrong, and just burning it all and being fresh and new or something,
That is kind of exactly what it is. When I was in my last year of high school, I lived in this area outside of Jacksonville called Middleburg, which is like kind of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a thing, it's called Burn Seasn, where like people's fields, they burn them basically to get it prepared to plant like new crops and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I took that same metaphor from that. I was like, oh, it's cool. It's kind of like out with the old and with the new, like moving on, like, you know, so many different things, forgetting the past, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely in alignment with the meaning I had for it too.
Yeah, and I think with that first, the self-titled album for Burn Seasn, a theme of that record seemed to circle around or center around a lot of stuff of like, things coming to end, like relationships or pursuing love, finding your place in the world, things like that. Was that record one that was kind of a hard one to write for you personally? Because it sounds like some pretty personal stuff when I listened to it way back in the day and today still.
Yeah, different songs are more personal than others. Sometimes I liked writing things about like stuff that I read or even like stuff that other people were going through. Mm-hmm. Like the song Closer, for instance, it's literally about like a stalker, you know what I mean? It's like somebody, like they are so into somebody, but that doesn't mean the other person is at all, you know what I mean? So mm-hmm. I can't remember. I think I saw something either like in like the paper or something, or on the news or something about, it was like some guy who like just decided that like he was in love with some chick or whatever, and like, in his mind, literally, they were like in a relationship, you know what I mean? And the girl was like, what? No. So anyways, but yeah, it's just finding different things. I mean, some of the songs are very personal. Song Perfect is very personal.
Yeah.
That one, that was definitely personal. Ending. Yeah, there's lots of personal lyrics on there, it was definitely a time in my life, I think, where, there was a lot of transitions happening. Mm-hmm. And for us to release that album, that was, we took some songs off of the Elektra album that never got released by them. And then we basically added some more songs that were kind of newer, and then some even like heavier stuff too, that we just were playing live and, our fans were really into. So we kind of padded the album with some more of that. And yeah, so it was kind of a hybrid record a little bit between the two. Mm-hmm. We ended up releasing the rest of the songs later on. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very transitional time. I think even just that age, when you're in your, early 20s, that kind of time frame, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when you're a teenager and into those like early 20s, like everything is a tragedy. You know what I mean? Like no matter what you're going through at that time, biggest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like, obviously I had that same kind of stuff going on with life and like the song Mistakes on that album is actually about kind of us like losing our deal and like just feeling like, man, like, all right, it's like the opening lyrics, like, I guess I'll pour my faith down one more drain. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, guys, let's go. Like, this is our opportunity to finally, finish getting this off the ground after dealing with all that stuff with Elektra.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing where, I mean, when I was a kid anyway, I used to dream and aspire to be in a band of my own, which, it never came to fruition, but it was the whole, that intoxicating outside looking in view of like someone who just listens to music, helps them and everything of, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. That must be a fun lifestyle to live, make music, go and perform, and, have a label behind you. As being in the business and, experiencing that still, it's not all glamorous. Definitely isn't, just like with the thing that happened with Elektra, because, the Napster stuff that was going on and a merger and all that stuff. You just never know. There's a lot of unknowns, and there's also an ugly side of the business that people might not know is there. That, you know, that could be a lot on like mental health. You know, there's a lot of bands that just implode because of that pressure and just
there was a lot of that to a certain degree, but you know, looking back, I think that what really kind of kept us going at that time was that we were playing shows. We were pretty much bigger in all the areas that we had developed than we ever were. And like I said, with the band itself, like me, Adam, Kevin, and Bobby, like we had a lot of camaraderie. Like I was just talking to Adam, our bass player, the other day, and it was just kind of like dawned on me. I was like, dude, we rehearsed like 5 nights a week, and like you never had to make anybody come to rehearsal. That was like where we wanted to be. There was no other place we wanted to be. It's like if you're trying to hang out with a chick, invite her to rerehearsal.
Yeah, bring her on.
Yeah, you want to do whatever, like that's fine. Bring them. Let's go. You know what I mean? Tell them to bring some beer. You know, and like, and yeah, so it's like we were kind of like throwing shows at our own. Like we had this badass freaking loft band room in downtown Jacksonville that was huge, and so yeah, man, dude, we were having such a good time that it helped me not be depressed over the fact that on the business side of things were also, like I mentioned earlier about everything else, it was in transition. It just was, you know, because you know, the whole industry was in transition. They were trying to figure it out. And, but yeah, we were having a lot of fun at that time and writing a lot of good music. So, you know, I look back at it now as an awesome time.
Yeah, that I'm glad to hear you look back with fondness, you know, during all that, even with the stuff that was hard to get through. My buddy just commented, he's a big fan of yours. Damien is all he said.
What's up, dude?
So, yeah, he has a project of his own called Seethe. Pretty cool stuff. If you're interested in checking that out. Cool. But he's a big fan of yours. He wanted to come and check this out, and hopefully he asks you some questions. So Patrick, I'm looking at you, man. So with that self-titled, just a few more things about that. Was the biggest song or most popular song off of that record the one that's most, in my mind, known, Carry On? Or were there other songs in a live setting that got people more crazy, more wild?
Definitely Carry On. Carry On was what got us out of our regional touring stuff, because, you know, we did a lot of that, like trading shows with other bands. Like we knew bands that were popular in, like, you know, wherever, Miami or Orlando or Atlanta or Tallahassee or wherever, and we would trade shows. Like they're popular there, then we bring them to where, you know, we're popular, you know what I mean? And so definitely the heavier songs, I think, went off better live, but we're definitely more known for Carry On, because once Carry On made it on the radio, it kind of opened up a lot of doors for us in other parts of the country. And we started getting a lot of love in certain places, like Madison, Wisconsin. I remember it was like a big market for us, but a lot of different places around the country basically started picking up that song. And that was the one that the label went the hardest with, I guess, at radio. So inevitably people started knowing us more for that song. But then I think once people actually got a hold of the album, I think it would be rare for Burn Seasn fans to say that's their favorite song. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Just personally for me, I love Carry On. It was the first song I heard from Burn Seasn off of 30 Seconds Mars message board, people I was talking to about bands to get into back in the day. I gravitated more towards, you know, songs like Walk Away, Closer, Perfect, you know, and, you know, just songs like that myself, despite Carry On probably being, you know, the most popular.
Carry On was also a part of that first batch of songs that we did for Elektra. And I feel like, you know, maybe we were trying, I like that song, but I feel like it was definitely meant to be like a radio song, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess I think a lot of guys in bands, when you start asking them about their like radio songs, they're like, that's cool. But this other song, that's, more
I
fun or
mean,
whatever, more interesting.
I feel like I know what you mean there, because I do tend to gravitate towards songs on records just from any band I listen to that are not the singles, that don't have the music videos, because I feel like they've got more of that interesting dynamic, or maybe more of the deeper meanings rooted in the lyrics, and just more into the songs itself. Granted, the singles are supposed to be what get people attracted to the record, buying the record, radio stations and stuff, and TV picking up music videos and getting in circulation. But I agree with you there, honestly.
Well, it's because you're trying to fit into a kind of preconceived mold there,
Yeah.
and that's the only way that they're going to let you get in the door. So
yeah,
so
and,
it serves its purpose. Like I said, it's definitely an awesome song. I like it, and it's probably the loudest sung song at our shows. But
unfortunately, I wouldn't know, because I've never seen Burn Seasn personally live, but people keep watching on for the announcement, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah. But last thing regarding the record, that self-titled, common thing I see when I read online on YouTube comments or just articles like on Wikipedia and stuff, a general consensus behind Burn Seasn with that first record when you guys hit is that you guys should have been a lot bigger, because you had the talent and the songs to be bigger.
Right.
But things that went on and stuff, it just didn't pan out that way. I think you more or less said in your own way that you're grateful that it turned out the way it did, and it wasn't like this. You guys didn't get into like arenas, things like that. True or false for that?
I don't know, man. I guess I don't look at life necessarily through that lens. Like, I don't have regrets. I don't have any of that kind of stuff. But I think once we actually did get a chance to release the album, a lot of people in the industry said that we like missed the boat or something. Like, if that album would have come out, when it was supposed to in like 2003, it was supposed to come out towards the beginning of like 2003, I think, or mid of 2003. And then it ended up not coming out until the end of 2005. And there were so many different shifts, not only in music, but just in the industry and all kinds of different things going on that, it just was so much harder to ignite that stuff at radio and all of that. But so, who knows what could have happened or should have happened or would have happened or whatever. It's all, can't really live thinking about it from that perspective. It happened the way that it did. And obviously I feel really blessed that, we, got stuff on the radio and we, got the attention that we did. But, a lot of people say that, Burn Seasn didn't get the attention that it deserved, or we were underrated, or all of that kind of stuff. And man, it is what it is. So to me, I just feel thankful for the people that are still fans and still want to hear us. And, I still get messages all the time from either old songs and people saying how much it means to them or meant to them or whatever, or wanting to hear new material and all that stuff. So, it's obviously awesome that people are still into it.
Yeah. That's, in my mind, that's a measure of success, that
100%.
Over 20 years later, people still reach out. People still tell you how great the music is. That's success there, man. Like, success isn't always the millions of copies sold, big tours and, things like that. My friend Seed has a question for you.
Sure.
How was the Beeler Bros as a label to the band? The roster was stacked for a minute with amazing underground bands, but they never blasted off.
I think Beeler Brothers came through and did the best that they could. I mean, they were great dudes. They were great to work with. We were trying to pick up the pieces from the whole Elektra stuff, falling apart. And, they're the ones who kind of went in with Elektra and negotiated, the rights to the songs so that we could, still release that and do all that stuff. And, so, I mean, they helped us in a lot of ways. And, they had some cool bands like Nonpoint and Skindred and
Sixth.
Yeah, Sixth. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so that they had a bunch of cool bands. I think Smile Empty Soul was on it for a while. There's a bunch of cool bands. So, I mean, through that, I mean, we obviously got a lot of camaraderie with those bands, and we played a lot of shows with them. And, we got to play a lot of cool stuff back at that time. We were playing with, bands like Papa Roach, and, our friends and, Shinedown had just, we basically had gotten signed at the same time. So, we had a lot of friends in the industry, and, it was a blast. But yeah, Beeler Brothers did the best they could. They were like an upstream indie, you know what I mean? Like, so they had good backing, but obviously they can't release an album, at least not at that time, in my opinion, as can't put as much into it as, like an Elektra Records would have, but we knew that. And, what was it? Nonpoint had just come out with that Bullet with a Name on It song and all that stuff. So they're having some success at radio, and that also opened up some doors for us. Skindred had the Nobody song that was blowing up. So, all of those things combined definitely helped us have the ability to, to get to radio and get at least the stuff that we were able to get from it. So that's kind of a long-winded explanation, but I think they did the best they could. And, it ended up being what it was.
Yeah, I've always had a lot of love for Beeler Bros and the roster they had and the music they've released. I honestly don't know if they're still an active and running label. They probably are. But
I'm not honestly sure either. Not sure. Yeah.
And then I didn't know about this next thing that my buddy brought up, but he mentioned your solo tracks that used to get put up on MySpace, and how they were different vibe, but my man's has skills on anything he touches. I'm not familiar with those tracks, to be honest with you.
Well, so when during the time when I was playing with Puddle of Mud, I got really, really into recording and just immersed myself in it. And well, I did before that too. He's actually, when he's talking about it, it was slightly before that. That was when I first started getting into it, but ultimately I ended up getting into TV and film music. I still do a lot of that now.
Right.
And it opened me up to doing so many different styles of music. I mean, do everything. When you say every type of music, I mean every type of music, from big orchestral scores to the heaviest metal to pop, to whatever, so some of the stuff I was posting back then, God, I couldn't even tell you what songs those were, to be honest with you. But yeah, I was experimenting with a bunch of stuff, especially as Burn Seasn was coming to an end, and kind of the pre-version of Society Red, I guess you could say, was me just kind of writing songs. And they definitely were kind of more just straightforward rock songs, I guess.
Definitely, I got the vibe from that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't. Thing that sucks sometimes about being a singer of a band is I could literally write a piano ballad and they'd be like, dude, that's awesome. It sounds like Burn Seasn. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, okay. It's like, what about this pop song? Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like Pop Burn Seasn. It's like, damn it, man. I couldn't, and obviously I love Burn Seasn and all that, but at that time, I was still trying to figure out, what I was going to do next. I was trying to figure out a lot of different things. So I was experimenting with some different styles and different stuff to, just help figure that out. But yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. I can't tell you which songs I had on my MySpace, but I'll tell you, I miss MySpace.
Yeah, same.
That is the heyday of social media. I had more fun on social media during the MySpace days than all the rest of what we got going on now. Uh-oh. Did you lock up on me, Will? There you
I'm
go.
still here. Just lost my video. Yeah. It's weird that it does this sometime. Let me do some adjusting here.
No worries.
Every so often, man, it just does this. All right. Let's see here. Fix the camera. I'm still here, just trying to figure out why it's doing this.
No worries.
Oh, hey. I love technology, man. I love it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah. Technical difficulties, they come and go. Just got to roll with it. But so we were talking about space when it started glitching out. I do miss those days. I used to have my top 5 or 8 or 10 it would let you do the song on my MySpace. I'm pretty sure I had some Burn Seasn on there several times. Might have anyways. And just love other things. I wish that platform would come back, to be honest with you. Tom, just bring it back and resurrect it in some way, because we all know Facebook and Instagram and all this other stuff. But I want to just transition to this long time coming. Beeler Bros contacted you for that to try and get the band doing something again around that time, right? If I remember it correctly. It wasn't Beeler Bros?
No, we just that was the only album that we did with Beeler Bros was just that first album.
That's right.
And we released all the other stuff that we released was all just us releasing it. But yeah, we released This Long Time Coming, which was just basically 2 new songs that that we had written, and the rest of that original Elektra album that didn't get released on the first album. People were still asking about those songs because that album kind of got leaked in those kind of MySpace times.
Okay.
And yeah, so it people knew that it existed, so they kept asking about it, and then eventually we're like, you know what, let's just release it. So we did.
That's some heavier side of Burn Seasn, and then I often have trouble deciding whether or not I prefer the self-titled or This Long Time Coming. Obviously, I prefer the self-titled. You know, it's my discovery for Burn Seasn, so that's where my heart lies. But man, that This Long Time Coming, man, I feel like is just as strong. Songs are awesome on that. I feel like the fans felt the same way. That the band never lost any of the edge. And even the EP, you know, the Sleepwalker, right?
Geez, what the heck is it called?
Yeah, Sleepwalker. Yeah.
Sleepwalker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is called Sleepwalker. Sorry.
Yeah. It's been a while.
I'm terrible with names sometimes. But yeah, no, that Yeah, that was just some new songs that Bobby and I had been working on. And then I believe we re-recorded Boredom, which was an early kind of demo song that kind of all the fans knew it by that demo, which I think kind of cursed that song a little bit because those fans, a lot of people didn't like it as much as the original, but it's like, you know, in a band, we call it demo-itis. It's like you'll make a demo and then it's like you always like that the best. And like you can't end up beating it because you just heard it so much or whatever. But anyways, I mean, we re-recorded it and yeah, just had some different songs that we had been working on. And yeah, that was, God, I don't even remember what year we put that out, but it's been a while. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's constant rotation for me, man.
Wow.
This long time coming and Sleepwalker and the first album. I try and get as many people familiar as I can. Another reason why I'm bringing you on here is to have people watch this and want to go and dig up, you know, that music and check it out, especially with, you know, the announcement later on. And so do you want to cover a little bit of Society Red, since that was kind of like an in-between of things, and Sleepkillers? Because Sleepkillers, that is probably from that time period one of my favorite records that came out. You had bassist for Limp Bizkit with you on that. Bobby was with you. Adam from Puddle of Mud, and he was with you in Society Red as well. Let's cover a bit of that, if you don't mind, and then we could kind of start getting on to the current events for Burn Seasn.
Sure.
So where do you want to take it from?
Well, Bobby and I we only, besides for doing co-writes and messing around with some stuff during the Electra days for Burn Seasn, kind of just wrote songs together almost. And then we started writing with some other people and started whatever. And I think we just were kind of burnt out, I guess, a little bit. So we were like, you know, started some kind of other little projects. And Bobby started a band called Amaru. And I just started recording some songs. And I had... God, what songs did I have? I had, oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up. Anyways, I had the first few songs for Society Red already recorded, and then I just kind of went out and started putting the band together. And you know, then Paul from, you know, the original guitar player from Puddle of Mud came in and joined Society Red, and then Brad Stewart that played in Shine Down and Fuel basically came and played with us, and then Adam, who would later be in Puddle, also came. If you haven't put it together, it's a very incestuous business.
Yes.
But yeah, so we did Society Red. We played a lot of shows. We, you know, did put out a guess you'd call it like an album and a half's worth of music. And then really right around that time, you know, Paul had left, went back to Puddle. And it wasn't too long after that basically I went and joined Puddle. So that was kind of, I guess, the end of Society Red, more or less. Was, you know, we just got so busy with that other stuff. And then Sam Rivers from Limp Bizkit's been a longtime friend all the way back in the day. You know, obviously Limp Bizkit's from Jacksonville. You know, I just grew up around those guys, and he's always been a great friend. And we'd always talked about doing a project together. And one night he was just like, dude, he's like, I'm just going to come over to your studio and let's just mess around with something. I'm like, all right. And we wrote the song. I think it's the last song on the Sleepkillers album. It's called Hogtied. And we wrote that song, like the entire song, and recorded it and did literally all of it, like tracked everything all in one night. And probably had a couple cocktails or something. And then the next day I remember getting up and listening to it. And it was like, by the time I was listening to it, Sam was already texting me and was just like, dude, like, what is going on? He goes, we did all that in one night. He's like, okay, so we need to we need to like do more of this. And he was kind of like on hiatus from Biscuit at the time, and so he had some time, and yeah, him and I basically sat down and wrote that record, and then we got Bobby and Adam to come in and fill kind of the other roles, and yeah, that was it. We had a lot of plans for Sleepkillers. The biggest thing that happened is Sam started touring again with Biscuit, and his schedule started getting wacky. And then also, he had some different health concerns and stuff going on that he was dealing with also. And, I think more than anything, it just didn't make sense for him. He needed to be healthy for Biscuit. So, if he went and did something dumb and hurt himself or did something or whatever going into Sleepkillers, I could imagine that wouldn't be good for him. So I think there was some of that going on as well. No. But yeah, no, he still great friend, still still love those songs. Got a lot of people who've reached out to us about that stuff too. It's definitely one that it's like the bird that didn't fly, because unfortunately, with just we couldn't give it the attention that it probably deserved.
I mean, you never know at a later date if it could be revisited, right? Kind of leave the door open and see about the future, because it's an awesome record. I wanted to ask you really quick before I got to my friend's question there. The scream, I believe it's in Dirty Foot. Mm-hmm. Did that hurt to do that scream, because you hold it for a pretty extensive amount of time in that song?
Nah.
No.
I mean, you always got to remember, screaming is making the sound, not blowing your voice. Yeah. So one of the things a buddy of mine named Joe Bennett taught me a long time ago. He's like, dude, you're like gonna blow your entire like vocal cords out. It's about making the sound, not you know what I mean? It's making the sound in the right way into the microphone. That's what makes it sound big and all of that. And so no, I can hold a scream for a pretty long time. It's yeah, but yeah, that's a good one though. It was
I love that song. I love
way to kick off the track for sure.
Yeah. My buddy's question was, finances aside, as time has gone on, do you prefer being behind the control board of the studio or in a band performing?
I miss performing sometimes, but I think I ended up calling it accidental touring in 2018. Mm-hmm. I went out and played with Saliva and was filling in for my buddy I mentioned earlier, Brad Stewart, who plays in Saliva now as bass, and he had some stuff going on and basically asked me if I could come in and fill in, and kind of like what was going to be like 3 or 4 shows ended up being like 60 shows or something. So it ended up being a lot more. That's why I call it accidental touring. And don't get me wrong, it's a blast. I mean, going out and playing songs that, people want to sing all the words to and play big places and do all that stuff was definitely a lot of fun, and love those guys. And obviously Bobby's the singer of Saliva, and all of that. So, but what it taught me was, I'm like, good Lord, touring is, people don't understand. It's a grind, man. Like it really is, being gone all the time. I have multiple businesses and things, and trying to run all that stuff from the road or whatever is difficult. So I love the being on stage part, to answer the question. Performing is always fun and awesome. But I would say these days I probably enjoy the studio stuff the most, just because I just love being able to be creative and just experiment and, make cool art, just work with, I produce other bands and stuff and co-write with people, and you never know what you're going to make. And I think that's kind of the magic of it all. I mean, the feeling of being on stage and, people singing all the words and all that stuff obviously is amazing. And Grateful for every second of that. But it these days, definitely, I'd prefer to be in the studio.
Well, I think I would relate to that if I was in your shoes. I love creating, just kind of just let my mind expand and check things out, see where they go, how they develop. Um, and definitely I don't know if I'd be able to handle the road myself. That I've heard from a lot of people I've had on just how taxing it could be, how much you start to get just homesick for just that.
It's a young man's game. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a time when it was the most fun thing in the world. It's like you're just feels like a never ending adventure with your buddies, and then, obviously the type of touring that I was doing with different projects was different types, you know what I mean? Like in Burn Seasn, I mean, we were in van tours, but then we also were in a bus on some of it, and you start seeing the ups and downs of that too, because just grinding it in a van, I could promise you that is a young man's game for sure. Like, and even being in a bus, I mean, that helps a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it is a grind. And then, I mean, even when you get up to, like the puddle of mud stuff and even saliva, stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, those guys travel really, really well, but man, it's still a grind, And so, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. The part when you're on stage performing, that's awesome every time. I mean, nothing feels better than that feeling, but it's everything else that surrounds it. People forget how much went into everything before that band went on and played for like an hour or whatever they played,
Right.
And really it's kind of it's why it's also so important for guys and bands, that's why they get caught up in drugs and different stuff too, is because dude, you got all this time. And if you fill it with good stuff, then, you can do a lot of cool things, but, it's easy to slip into that other side of things because, outside of, especially once you have you have techs and tour managers and everyone's doing everything. You're not doing nothing. You're like, okay, I got an interview and a meet and greet and that's it. Okay, cool. So for me, luckily I was always into going into the gym and doing that kind of stuff and, found cool stuff to do. But yeah, it's a grind though. It's a grind for sure. It's an adventure, but it's a grind.
No, I'm sure. I hear pretty much the same thing from almost everybody I've had on here when I ask about the touring and just how they feel about it and what it would look like now. But to transition into the part of the interview that I'm sure people are going to probably fast forward to, and obviously considering how much time you might have left for this interview, along with all the breakups, the reunions, and everything behind the scenes, what could you finally tell out in the open to the fans of the band that have been developing that haven't been announced so far?
Well, I mean, I guess the announcement for Burn Seasn is that, we've been talking about it for a while, like from doing new music to possibly doing shows, all that kind of stuff. And, to be honest, it's especially like for Bobby when he comes home from the road and stuff, and Brad and any of those guys, Brad had been playing bass on all the Burn Seasn shows since basically our breakup or whatnot.
Right.
But those guys only have so much time when they're off the road. And that's also been part of, even trying to get in the studio and write new Burn Seasn stuff. We've messed with a bunch of different songs and all that. But anyways, finally we got to a place though where we are kind of, I don't know. I think it's more or less a celebration would be the best way to say it. It's been 20 years since that first record came out. So kind of as a part of celebrating that, we're going to do a show here in Jacksonville. We're in the process of still solidifying the date, but we are going to do a show towards the end of the year. and it's going to be all the OG members. It's going to be Adam and Kevin and me and Bobby. And yeah, so we're really excited about it. We're going to do a bunch of cool stuff for the show. We're printing vinyl versions of, the first record. We're actually bringing back all the OG merch from those days too, that we've seen a lot of people on social media talking about and posting pictures of and stuff like that. So we're just trying to really make it make it something really cool for the fans. And then also what this is part of why it's taken us a little longer to solidify this part, but we want it to be free general admission.
Oh, so that's cool.
For people that are traveling, people are doing whatever, it's like, look, you just get here, like the show's on us kind of thing. And then if people want to buy, like, we'll have some VIP things or whatever that comes with a bunch of merch and things and whatevers and or meet and greets or whatever. But yeah, like I said, we're still finalizing all of that stuff. But more than anything, like, it's about just doing something really cool for the fans. It's like, we feel honored that people still give a shit and still, even when we we hadn't posted anything in quite a while or whatnot, and people's response of wanting to still see the band and hear the band and stuff like that. Dude, it means the world to us. And all we want to do is, I don't know, do something cool for all of them. So that's that's basically the announcement for now. Me and Bobby have got all kinds of different music stuff that we've been tossing around. We're still figuring that part out as well. He's been so immersed in, Saliva just released new music, all that stuff or whatever. So it's like when he's at home, like usually we're like getting our kids together and stuff, you know what I mean? Like doing, stuff like that. So yeah, we're doing like dad stuff and like, all of that. Like, so we just got to go in and, finish some stuff to get to the new music land, which I think we will. And, we're already talking about it, but, the first thing that we didn't want to miss was the 20th anniversary thing and making sure that we did something special to honor that album and the fans, and really just, I don't know, just make a bunch of cool stuff. Like I said, to celebrate it.
Yeah. I love the hell out of that, man. It's awesome to celebrate something that means, a lot to you guys, but also so much to the fans. Yeah. One question I have for that show is, do you think it'd be possible to do like a live stream of that for the people that won't make it down? Like me, I'm way over in Oregon, right, so I'll way across the way. Something like that for somebody that wants to attend, in a manner of speaking, but can't get there.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I mean, obviously, we were going to have kind of it, whatever they refer to as like pro shot or whatever. So videos of the entire show one way or the other, whether it be streamed or not. But we have talked about the streaming stuff. We had tried that. It was years ago, so streaming's come a long way since then. So I think we just have to figure that out with the rest of kind of our crew that's helping us do all the rest of the stuff. So, but yeah, I love that idea. And as long as we can do it, it's like anything else. It's like, if you do something and you do it right and it's awesome, then it's great. If you try to do something and it's half cocked, the stream's screwed up and then everything's, you know what I mean? Then it's like, then it's like, why even do it? So if we can find a solution that we think will really kind of be bulletproof, then I think we'll definitely do something like that.
Well, heck yeah, dude. Well, man, I just want to say that I've loved being able to talk to you and go over some things regarding all the music and the history, and hearing that new music will probably happen. It's already kind of being tossed around. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things to me, is like potentially hearing something new. Like, I love the fact that probably will happen. Just the time frame isn't there yet. I'm waiting however long that takes, but also want to just say that you're a tremendous talent. You and all the guys in Burn Seasn. I've always thought so. And that show towards the end of the year, It's going to pop off. I know it is. I think that's going to be huge. It's going to be packed. It's going to be sold out. And if I have a way, man, I'm going to snag a shirt one way or another. Venmo something your way and just
stay in touch with me, man. I'll make sure one gets to you.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, dude. Dude, again, just I don't want to be a broken record, but thank you so much for coming on. I've loved this opportunity. I know I'm not the biggest podcast, but I love music. I love your music, especially.
Dude, I could tell by the message that I saw from you that obviously you were way legit, man. Like, because dude, I don't care about any of that, man. Talking with somebody who you could tell like is really into it and is a real fan. I mean, trust me, that's an honor for me. So I appreciate you as well.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. And I wish you the best for your future endeavors and Burn Seasn, whatever may come for you guys, and your personal lives as well. I'm going to get this shared around, and hopefully people watch all of it. And if not all of it, catch the end for the announcement.
Yeah, and we will. We'll be doing the same thing. Trying to I'm literally pressing these guys to like finalize this date so that we could kind of stick all this out there.
Yeah, I'll keep it to myself. I know.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, no, we'll definitely be sharing the link around and everyone to check it all out. But yeah, like I said, man, thanks for having me and stay in touch, man. I'll make sure you get some swag and some cool stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Damien Starkey of Burn Seasn, Society Red Sleepkillers. Check it all out.
Yeah,
Look out for an announcement for a date. And thank you.
Thanks, guys. Later.